Are you in the land between? The land between. Welcome to the Daily Devo. I, of course, am Vince Miller. You know, we exist to help you live all in and know, grow, and go in your relationship with Jesus every single day. Every single day, I'm right here with you. So I want to encourage you to check out that show, the Vince Miller Show, that just dropped a couple of days ago on spiritual leadership. And if you have been trying to figure out how to become a spiritual leader in your family, that would be a great video for you to watch, which I believe will empower you to know, grow, and go in your relationship with Jesus and others. Also, we are just a few chapters away from finishing 1 Samuel. This has been a great book. So many incredible characters and stories. But I want to prepare you for our next book of the Bible. We're moving to the New Testament, and we're going to start the new year, or right after Christmas, with the book of James. Oh, great book. So go to our website, get the scripture journal that goes with this study, the book of James. It's James, the ESV scripture journal. There's a link below the video or in the show notes today. Pick it up so you can chronicle this incredible study together. You're going to want to take notes, because if you take notes, you remember convictions and then you act on them in your life. So grab that journal. But for today, let's dive into verses 5 through 7 of chapter 27. It reads, "Then David said to Akish," remember he is the enemy king that he is currently residing under. He says, "If I have found favor in your eyes, let a place be given me in one of the country towns, that I may dwell there. For why should your servant dwell in the royal city with you?" So obviously, David's men and family, etc., might be numbering a couple of thousand, are probably overwhelming to Akish, and Akish is probably overwhelmed by them. So he brings him this request. It continues. "So that day Akish gave him Ziklag. Therefore Ziklag has belonged to the kings of Judah to this day. And the number of the days that David lived in the country of the Philistines was 1 year and 4 months, or 16 months. So that's a kind of an interesting moment right here. Akish allotted David a land grant. And in some ways, Akish believed that he was buying David's loyalty, when in reality, David was just distancing himself from Akish, and God was giving David a provision through an enemy king. You see, Ziklag was a border town between Philistine territory and Israelite territory. It was initially allotted to the tribe of Judah back in Joshua chapter 15, later to Simeon in Joshua chapter 19, and then it was lost. It came under Philistine control, where it remained until David received it back right here. It was situated in the Negev territory, close enough to Israelite lands for David to maintain connections with his people, but still under Philistine rule, to keep him out of the reach of Saul's grimy, evil plots. Now, this strategic positioning allowed David to gain resources and operate a little independently while avoiding complete alignment with either Israel or Philistia, which you will see in some of the coming verses. So Ziklag, I would call it, was the land between. The land between. So let me ask you this question. Are you living presently in the land between? If so, it's kind of an uncomfortable place, isn't it? A little bit of an undefined space. Well, David knew this place. David left the land of his people, but had yet to step into his calling as king. I mean, this is a long waiting period, and now he finds him right here in Ziklag. And sometimes we find ourselves in similar places, don't we? In the middle of what was and what will be, what was and what is to be. And maybe right now you're between careers, maybe between relationships, or in a season of waiting for God to rescue you out of what was into what will be. And in this land between, God often works in hidden and unexpected ways. You see, in Ziklag, God provided for David through unusual means, didn't he? Through Akish, a Philistine king, who likely unknowingly became a part of God's provision. How cool is that? It's a reminder that God can use anyone or anything to sustain us when we're in that land between. Resources come from surprising places. And the people we least expect, well, sometimes they act on God's behalf. And God weaves all these elements together to prepare us for something beyond the land between. But this between season, it can really be irritating. It can stretch our faith, especially when we don't know how long it's going to last. Like David, who lived in Ziklag for 16 months, he didn't know that initially. We often, probably like David, want to know the timeline. But the land between doesn't come with timelines and deadlines at all, does it? God uses these spaces to prepare our hearts, refine our character, and strengthen our trust in Him. Let me say that again. God uses the land between to prepare our hearts, refine our character, and strengthen our trust in Him. It's kind of a bit of a holding place, but also a growing place, a holding and growing place in your life. Now, if you're in that space right now today, I just want you to trust right now, trust that God is at work. Extend faith to God. He knows where you are. He knows exactly what you need. And just as David eventually left Ziklag to step fully into his calling, God will lead you out of your land between in his perfect timing. So lean into this season a little bit, grow, trust, have faith that God is shaping you for what is next. I love you. And I pray that even today, God will provide you with resources, reasons, and resolutions to your land between. Be blessed today. Share this with someone you know who might be in this season. And I'll see you right back here again tomorrow.